much, everyone, for joining. You have joined into Pondering Thoughts with Nida Jawed. I'm your life coach, Nida, and here I have Nadia Malik with me, who will be sharing her story. The She Rose series. The series focuses on women who have risen above their pain, above their challenge, and are living a content life. And I'm really glad Nadia is here with us to share her story and motivate a lot of ladies out there. And we're talking about thousands of people who will be watching your story.
Yes.
So you'll be impacting a lot of lives today. So congratulations on that.
Thank
Being
you.
that Shero that everybody needs.
Thank you so much for having me. Assalamu alaikum to everybody and hello to all of the people who are watching me.
So Nadia, please tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
I actually have an online business and it started with just freelance writing, but it is an online business now where I teach people about how they can start their online business. I have a blog where I write about everything that is related to money, and I also teach people how they can manage their money better even if they have a single income. And plus I also tell people how they can work from home. There are so many resources that I have on my blog.
Awesome. So today we're actually discussing Nadia's story about how she got to do all that she's doing with her blog right now. So her journey from being a stay-at-home mom to actually turning into a mompreneur.
That's right.
Right? So
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about that. And from her story, maybe you can get some little hints and tricks on how you may do the same. The journey may not be the same, but of course, when you idealize someone and you learn from another person's story, it gives you some idea of how that journey possibly can be.
Yes.
And plus, if not that, you can follow her blog and learn how to increase your money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know?
Yeah.
So all of that is great and on point. We have just mentioned that you have been a stay-at-home mom before you started, and then you lost connection with all the working world after having your kids. And of course, that's not an easy job. And you have also shared with me that your spouse actually travels.
Yes, he travels extensively.
Right?
for work,
So
yes.
that means you have to carry extra weight of duties, not just as a mom, but wherever your husband can fill the space, because he's not there, you have to own up to that space as well and duties, right?
Yeah.
So tell me how not having your husband with you all the time was challenging for you.
It's a transition because my husband has always been in the line of work where he has to travel somehow.
Okay.
But since we moved, we have been moving, just to give you a background, we have been moving a lot. And that's because of my husband's work. But now that we are here, I feel like the girls are grown up enough that they need a place to put their roots in. And that's why I have decided to settle down and not travel with him anymore. We have traveled with him extensively when the kids were younger, but now they are at the point where they need to settle down. Okay. So when we were traveling with him, the challenges were different. But now that he's away most of the time, it's completely different. And there are places where I feel like he needs to be with us, but then there are places and the kids are so set in their schedules now because my girls, they play professional golf.
Oh, wow.
So they need to be in such a tight set schedule that sometimes when my husband wants to like put something that is not in our routine, we would rather have him traveling, not to be at home. So it's been a transition. It's hard at times, especially when I have like late night practices and stuff, or I have things that like my younger one has not started with the professional golf yet, so she has some activities and the older ones need practicing and they need to be somewhere. So that's a little bit of challenge, but pretty much since last year we have transitioned in a very good spot. And it's not that I don't need my husband, it's just that we have trained our mind to have him not with us like all the time.
So you're used to doing things without his presence.
Yes.
So when he is, you're like, okay, I'm out of my routine right now.
No, it's okay. I love having him home because when he's home, it's like I don't have to worry about like small things, like making sure that I have all the doors locked. You know, like small things. They're not like big things. Like I go groceries by myself. I do all my chores by myself. I don't need his assistance all the time. But the thing is that peace of mind I have when he's home, like
you feel more secure.
Yes, I can take an extra nap in the afternoon because he's home, he can pick up the girls. I
Oh
don't
my
have to
God,
pick it.
naps. Now that's
That's
something
awesome.
that needs to be
Yes.
on every agenda.
Yeah,
pretty much.
so we have trained ourselves good now. Now that the kids are older, I feel like when kids were younger, they needed to see him all the time.
Right.
But now that everybody's doing their own thing, it's pretty good now. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
It's good.
That's awesome. So, mashallah, you have mentioned that you have 3 girls.
Yes.
May we know the age so we get the
Yes.
whole context?
Yes, my older one is gonna turn 13 in a
Mashallah.
few more days, and then my middle one is gonna turn 10 in May,
Okay.
and my youngest one is the baby of the house. She is gonna turn 6 in June, so she's 5.
She is a baby.
She is a baby, yeah.
It still must be so fun to dress
Yes,
her up and
yes,
everything
she's
else,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know that you have dealt with a lot, you have traveled a lot,
Yes.
and then now you are finding yourself in a really good position where you have things in balance, right?
Yes.
So you started working, you were a stay-at-home mom, and you had home life and kids, everything in balance. You were traveling with your husband.
Yes.
So it sounds like you had a pretty good grasp on things despite the challenges at that time. So I understand from what you're sharing that you were determined to find a suited career as well.
Yes.
And when did you feel that you needed to have something for yourself as well? And what was the motivation behind it?
Okay, when my girls, they have been playing golf throughout. Like my youngest one started when she was 4. My oldest one started when she was 4. So we lived in Canada for 10 years. And then we moved to Orlando for a year, and then we lived in California for like 6 months, and then we ended up here, which is home now.
Right.
But throughout that process, because we were moving all the time and there was no like absolute like decision that we're gonna stay here, I could not do anything that would be long term, especially the girls were home.
Right.
And with the kids being home, my husband and I had always decided that one parent is going to be home. So he was working full time, and especially depending on our culture and stuff, I was working when my kids were not born. But then when my first one was born, I tried to keep up with my work and the baby, but it was not working. So I just decided that I'm just going to stay home, because in my mind it was not feasible for both of us, me and my husband, to put my firstborn in the childcare, like in a daycare. That did not set well with us. Like we tried. It's not that we didn't try. We tried, but it did not work. So we just decided that this is not going to happen until we're done with having kids. So when my first one was a little bit older, my second one came, and then my third one. So the thing that the point where I decided that I need to work is when my youngest one started half day of school. I was busy all the time. When she started half day of school and she was gone from like 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I was like in the morning, like, what do I do now? Like, I was like, I did not have anything to do. I was already writing. I used to write because I did my majors in English literature back home. So I was already writing. Writing was never a problem. And I was reading all these blogs where people because we have been a single income family for a very long time, so I needed to know how to manage money better, and I read all these blogs like all the time. And then when she started going to school, I had these like 3 hours in my day that I could have like done like home chores and stuff, but I was like, I can do them anyway, so I need to do something with that time. So I started writing about how I used budgeting and how I did saving, and because I did that for such a long time that it came naturally to me. But when I met other people, especially other moms who were not working, yet they were having trouble with managing the expenses with single income, and they wanted their kids to be in extracurricular activities, but they were like, we can barely manage our like basic needs, so how do we manage that? And one of my very close friend, she they both were working, and she always said to me that, I don't know how you guys manage with one income. Like, we're two people working, we still cannot manage. Like, we have the same house, like same size house, and you guys have been traveling, and how do you manage, and how did all the movings happen in? Because when you travel or when you move, it adds up to the cost.
Of course.
It's a lot when you travel, because then you have to get settled in a new place. You don't buy right away. You are renting, and there is no money being. And she was just mesmerized with the whole situation. And the more I met her, I felt like this is a common problem with this society, and especially with our culture. And our women were being they were losing confidence in their selves. Like, let me write it down. So I started writing, and I remember I started writing when she was just like registered to the half day program. So I wrote some things, and then I told my husband about it. He was like, you can just start a blog, like people are doing it.
That's awesome. So the two main things that I heard in all that you have shared with us right now was culture and confidence.
Yes.
And it's very true that many times to build that confidence, I believe confidence comes over time, but
Yes.
just to take that first step of courage, actually to do something. First you have courage, confidence builds over time. Oh. So I don't think moms regret that part.
No,
of course.
No, of course
But
not.
it's just that eventually you want to get back on track.
That's
because
true.
like you said, what do you do with the time
That's
when
true.
they start working?
I know.
The kids are in school, right?
Cool. Yeah.
So when we speak of culture, number one thing that's common in our culture as well, and we're talking about South Asian culture, Desi culture, is that men are not always on board with the idea of wife working, because obviously they are realizing there's financial investment, there's emotional investment, and then there's investment of time.
Yes.
And it sounds like you have found that perfect balance. However, many people struggle because they have ladies have different talents and they work differently. They're more corporate world oriented, or they're more hands-on, or baking or cooking. There are different kind of talents everyone comes up about. And it sounds like your talent is management, money management, and you're bringing that skill to everyone else who can utilize it, right?
That's true.
So speaking of husbands and culture, and what the background of South Asian culture is, how did you tell your husband what your plan is, and how did you get him to support you and get on board?
Actually, in my case, it was the reverse. So I'm just putting religion in reference to context where people think that maybe our culture or our religion would stop us, but that's where it all started, in the masjid, right? In the masjid. We have been traveling to so many places, and we have lived in so many places, but never have we found such a good community religiously. So when we came to Allen and we spent first Ramadan in Allen Masjid, we were like, oh my God. So the next Ramadan came along, and the routine was same. We brought our girls to the Tarawih, and they would stay there for the whole Tarawih. And the time that I had between the Iftar and the Tarawih, I used to write. I used to write outside the masjid. I was just volunteering at the masjid, and while I was sitting, just because some of the volunteers are supposed to take care of the kids who are registered in the program, that they take care of their kids outside. So I would just sit there. I would just write. And some of my volunteer friends made fun of me. They were like, "Why are you good?" But like, I'm like kind of a person. Like now, I have to be on my phone all the time because of my work. But I was not the person who would watch dramas or movies. I've never been like that. I feel like it's such a waste of time. So I had to do something with that time. And when I wrote all those things, and I told my husband that I've written, like I had like folders and folders and papers written. So he saw them and he was like, why don't you put it online? I'm like, where? So he's like, you can start a blog. I'm like, he came up with the name so much, and he was like, I cannot write. So you can write. Let's just put it on the website and see how it goes. So I was like, oh, I don't know. He was like, no, I'll set that up and we'll see. Let's just see. So we put that up, and by the time my youngest one started school, my website was up. So I was like, I kept on writing, and initially I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I loved writing. It was like a way for me to express myself. So he took care of all the coding and the back stuff and all the website and everything.
Have a husband who's pushed you towards
yes,
this.
he did.
And he saw the talent.
Yes.
Or maybe he just saw a lot of clutter and he's like, it needs to be more digital.
Yes, that's true.
Save a tree.
I know. So he totally supported me, like
that's
in
awesome.
and he still is, and that's why I have been doing what I'm doing. Without his support, it would have never, like in a million years, it would have never been possible.
Of course, and
Never.
whether or not it's a man or a woman, having a great spouse, partner, or support system around you is what motivates and keeps you going.
That's true.
Otherwise, if somebody is pulling your leg down for why waste time, you kind of start thinking negatively as well.
That's
so
true.
I'm glad that you had that positive push.
Yes.
That got you to the next step. Now, while I was hearing, I was taking notes, and I realized that there were 3 things that you mentioned, which was writing,
Yes.
management,
Yes.
and blogging, which is digital platform.
Yes.
So, which one of the 3 is your favorite, and what you love doing most?
I love writing. I love writing. Like management and blogging and everything, putting it on and having it uploaded and everything. That's also part of it. But I can just sit and I can just write. I love writing. I love doing research. I love writing, and I can just write on like forever. That's what I like most.
So that's kind of interesting. I write too, but now I'm curious to know, and it's not the prep question, but she has triggered my interest. So when we talk about writing, and I know you said you blog about money management and all that stuff, is there, you specifically like writing about management or money management, or are there other interests when it comes to writing as well?
I have written in everything. Like I have done guest posts in pretty much all the topics. I love doing the research. Just we are like on this point, I have written content and my content has been published. I have submitted quite a lot of content to big publications. I would not take the names because it's not published yet, but the one that I have been able to get published is in a very reputable website, that is creditcards.com.
Okay.
They talk about money management and credit cards and everything related to that, and getting your thoughts published in that one was big for me. It was pretty big. Yeah. So
awesome.
that's why I can write in anything. I have written guest post blogs on food blogs. I have the first post that I did was actually the one that was related to inspiration and friendship. So somebody asked me to write something on friendship. So I wrote, it was a website, Words Between Coasts, and I wrote an article about friendship. One of my very close friend who was actually way older than me,
right?
But I developed a very strong friendship and like a big sister kind of relationship with her, and I wrote about it. And you know, I can write about pretty much everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a great talent to have. So congratulations on
Thank
being
you.
gifted.
Thank you so much.
So having said that, now we know that you had a great support system. Your husband saw your talent. He helped you pursue it. You talked about how you had time and you wanted to fill that time using your talent as well. You're being published on different platforms, which is great. Now, there's a failure story as well. And you have mentioned that too to me before we started recording this. So I know that before you got into all of this, your first attempt to business was not the most successful.
Yes.
Right? So tell me about that business and what was your challenge?
I had a Shopify business. So I started that because again, that was online, and at that time my youngest one was full-time home, like she was young. But I wanted to do something. My husband was traveling again at that time. He has been traveling for a very long time. So he would be gone for the weekdays. So I needed something to do, and Shopify was big at that time. It just started and people were making tons of money from it.
Right.
And that was basically the motivation behind it. And that's why I think the motive behind it was to earn. That's why it did not resonate with me. Like I started it and then I could not do it. It was not something that, like, apart from the money part, it did not satisfy me, like, as a person. So I was like, I don't know, like, I would not say that I did not put my 100% in it, but it did not give me, like, any satisfaction or any kind of sense of achievement, because I was like, I was just taking things from one side and, like fulfilling the order.
So what kind of items were you trying to sell?
It was like small items. I think it was, some of it was jewelry, some of it was like designed like t-shirts and the mugs and the cups and that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
I would like have the inventory shipped to me, and then I would ship it to other people who ever bought it. It was working okay, and if I kept going with it, it would have like gone a little bit further, but I did not like it. So I had to like shut it down. I did not. And then we had to move again, because there was another move coming, and I was like, what do I do with the moving and all this traveling with us? It would never have worked because I needed place for the inventory too,
Right.
and I
of
needed
course.
one address,
Yeah.
everything. So
Well, now you have moved to something better,
yes,
which is great. And we talked about support, which is great. Having your partner
Yeah.
be the biggest support. Now, with that,
Mhm.
you have great person to lean against, but our surrounding also carries a lot of negative characters
yes.
or people who would tell us that, you're thinking that, but it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming, or my question would be, was negativity part of your experiences as well?
To a certain extent, yes, because especially when you start something that in our culture, I've experienced it a lot, because when you are saying that you're working from home,
Right.
it's like people are like, okay, like, especially for one thing that really bothers me is that people don't think that being a mom is a full-time job. So they would ask you, okay, what do you do? Like, if you tell them that I'm a stay-at-home mom, the next question was, okay, so you just stay at home. So I'm like, it's not a small thing. Like, people underestimate it, and sad fact about it is that moms themselves do that.
Yes.
I feel like it's our fault, or it needs to be changed, because when they address this, or when they would say, oh, I just stay at home, like, why would you say that?
Just that
No,
word.
you
I just stay at
No,
home.
that's like, you tell them like with confidence, or with like full confidence in yourself, and because it's the human mind, we are humans, and the words that you say from your mouth, they are gonna be the words that people say. So the same words you're gonna hear. So if you tell them I stay at home with my kids, alhamdulillah, then they would be like, okay, maybe it's a good thing. So in that few seconds, they just take that picture, and they and you get that photocopied comments or things in front of yourself. So that's where everything is a problem, and that's where we experience that. And the negativity, for sure, when people hear that I work from home, they're like, okay, most of the time they don't want to continue the conversation, because they think that she's not doing anything, or it's not, or sometimes it happens is that most of the people don't understand that how can you work from home. So when I tell them that I write, because I also do freelance writing, and that also makes a certain amount of income for me. Then they're like, okay, what do you write about? And then when you tell them that it's money management, they would be like, because women in our society, most of the time, they are not managing money on their own. Like, this department is also for some reason is handled by men, and
Yeah.
I don't understand why. Like, just having a credit card, or just having cash in your hand, or just being able to do like grocery shopping is not managing money.
Right.
So
So one of the great things that you have mentioned is, yes, stay-at-home moms are put down, but it's the other moms doing stuff.
yes,
So
yes.
how you are perceived
Mhm.
is being done by somebody who is in exact shoes as you.
That's true.
And the other thing you have mentioned is that the way we say that this is what I do, and the way moms say, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just a mom,
Yeah.
or I just stay at home,
Yeah.
that already says, okay, open door to insult me.
That's
or
true.
judge me.
Yes, for
right?
sure.
So the way we say, the confidence we say what we do with, gives the other person the invite
Yes.
to treat us in such
That's
a way.
true. That's true.
If I was to say, Nadia, the blogger, nice to meet you.
Yes.
They'll be like, okay, she has some sort of, she has a prestige, she has a job and everything.
Yeah.
But likewise, we're both moms.
Yes.
So our titles cover that part up.
That's true.
I'm a mom too, and you're a mom too.
Yeah.
So here's a connection. Let's build that connection up.
Yeah.
And we can actually help each other out.
For sure.
With mom challenges and otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So the way we talk about ourselves is what signals the other person, this is how you need to address me.
That's true.
So keep a positive mindset about what you do, even if it's raising your kids. It's not easy.
And that's the most important job that you're doing. That's the most important job, and you should be confident about it. And if there are people around you who have doubts about it, you need to make a point that these things are out of your way, because once you are confident in what you are doing and you're doing a good job, then everything else does not matter.
The fact is, you have mentioned you took time off.
Yeah.
I have taken time off when we had kids, and moms who decide to do this, and there are many who decide to do this, and this is common across culture.
Yeah.
This is knowing and realizing that being a mom is a full-time job. You have a life depending on you.
Yes.
The other things that I have seen happen is that man bashing is pretty common.
Yes.
Right?
That's true.
So when the mother has decided to stay with the kids, of course the earning responsibility falls on the man.
Yes.
So at that time, acknowledge his struggles as well.
For sure. It's very important. If you don't support each other, nobody's gonna support you. You cannot have a good relationship or a good household setup if you go with your complaints to your so-called friends or extended family. Nobody else can help you. You guys need to help each other first, support each other 100%.
Absolutely. So open communication is the key. That's what's being said here.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to the challenges and negativity you felt and heard.
Yeah.
What did you do, and how did you block that negativity to keep your positive mindset going?
I wouldn't say that I'm not a very social person. I am, but my work does not allow me to go and attend all the social gatherings that I'm being invited to. But I really keep my friends close. My support system is great. And I've learned it over the years, because even in my close family there are some people who are questioning what I'm doing. I would say I just try to avoid them as much as possible. I am open for creative criticism from anybody. I have no problem with that, because I'm not perfect. I just try to avoid the noise. With noise, I mean I would avoid all those social gatherings and people who think this is not something that I should be doing, or who are not supportive of this concept.
Right.
My parents they don't know anything what I'm doing, and my
mom, now they do.
Yeah, and my mom keeps telling me, I don't know, because my mom is concerned about my health and stuff, because sometimes I was designing a digital product and I had a deadline with it, so she was used to talking to me every day, and I did not call her for weeks, and she's like, I don't know what's happening. She would not be angry with me, but she would be like, you need to take care of yourself, what's happening, where are you? So these are the things. And my dad he has been supportive of everything that I did. So I'm very blessed that I had a dad who was totally supportive. I have a brother who's totally supportive. I even have my male cousins who are totally supportive. And then I had my husband. I have been supported by the men in my life. My father-in-law, he passed away last year, and he was also totally supportive. So I have been blessed in a way that I have had men backing me all the way.
I absolutely love what you just said here, because many successful women, and like you, I too have a great backing from male relatives around me.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
So when we talk about men and support, number one thing I have noticed, especially among women who are finding themselves successful, is because they have a very great male support system. So to say that male don't help or men don't help women, I don't always agree with that statement.
No.
Behind every great man is a woman, and behind every great woman is a man.
Yes.
Or many men.
Many
rather.
men. Yes. Yes.
And of course, to be successful, number one thing is to have a great support system.
It's very important.
You can rely on, like for instance, you
Yeah.
were mentioning that you rely on your friends
I do.
time to time again.
Yes.
Now, we covered your motivation that came from your husband. We have talked about your support system, which is your family members who are male, and your friends who are ready to help you on one call.
Yeah.
Now, how about your daughters? They are home and they're watching mom work from home, who is doing what she loves, absolutely. And then they are also learning what it means to be not just a mom, but a woman per se, right? So I want to know, what are the 3 things your daughters are watching you do that can benefit them in their future?
Okay, they have seen me like totally doing domesticated stuff, and then they have seen me, especially my oldest one, she has seen me learning to drive, because I did not drive back home. So when I came here, my husband taught me how to drive, because my husband was traveling extensively. I just show them throughout my day that they need to be doing a little bit of everything. And since I started working, they were always like helpful, like the girls are naturally. They tend to help you, or they would ask you, okay, do you need help, this. So most of the work, when I started working, my husband suggested that I get a maid or I get some outside help to get the house chores done and everything. Then I realized that I have these three kids in my house that are ready to like help me, given me or my husband an opportunity to teach our kids how they can make their lives better, or how they can learn these small things and implement these small things like the organizational skills and everything. They can make breakfast for themselves, and my older one can help the young one. They know where the things go in a certain way, and most of the things that I would rely on some outside help are being done with my inside force that I have. And they love doing it.
So I hear 3 things that you're teaching or you have taught your daughters. Is balance, organization, and life skills. Yeah, there you go. You got a little assistants running around everywhere. Okay, so working from home has its own challenges, knowing that you can get distracted at any time. You need to get up and take care of something else. So what are some of those challenges or distractions? And how do you handle them?
I was struggling at the beginning with the organizational skills, because I felt like I need to do this, then I need to do this, then I was going back and forth between the house chores and my things, and I felt like I was struggling for like few months until my husband told me that you need to focus on just one thing. I started managing my time, like in the mornings are just for my work. I do not do anything else. After I drop them off, I just sit in front of my laptop and just work until like 2 o'clock. I do not get up. Like whatever needs to be done, I just do that. And I turn off my phone. I do not do anything. I have no social gatherings, no calls, no nothing. And everybody in my close circle, they know that. I would not say that there are no distractions, but I make sure that my girls are in bed by 7 o'clock. After 7 o'clock at night, I do not.
I think moms want to know how that happens. How do you get kids to
Everybody says that to
by
me.
7?
Everybody says that to me since they took a break from golf, so they have to be in bed by 7 o'clock. That's like a religious ritual in my house, because I need to start writing around 8 o'clock again. I have my work hours from 8 to 10 again. Where I need to produce like content.
All of our sisters and audience, everyone who is listening to us, watching us, are definitely thinking, oh my gosh, she has best of both worlds. You know, of course, it's not easy being a mom and also working from home. Like we just said, it has its own challenges, of course. Being a time manager that you are, and how skilled you are in management, you have a good grasp of it, right? So alhamdulillah. And of course, your journey has not been easy. There have been a lot of trials and error, and traveling and failing in businesses.
It still is. There are days when I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and it's natural. Like you just have to bounce back as soon as possible.
From being a mom to transition into a career-oriented life, or even perhaps starting their own business, whether it's from work, from home, or actual office. One piece of advice you would like to offer them?
Okay, one thing that I would like to tell you is that if you are working from home, specifically talking about the women who still need to be at home for one reason or the other, and they need to do something from home. So the very important thing that you need to pay attention to is that whatever you are doing, it needs to also cater your passion, or that you really really love. If that comes down to only taking care of your kids, just do that. Do not push yourself into something that you regret after. When you have a work line where you do not feel that it's work, oh my god, that helps. Only commit to something that you love doing. Do not fall into the trap of like committing to something that you would regret after, because that's gonna take so much energy out of you, and that's gonna leave you so exhausted at the end of the day. Toxicity that it would produce in you, because you would lose with something new that you wanted to start and it did not pan out. So it would affect you on a bigger level.
And that's absolutely great advice. In short, follow your passion.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you're just trying to make money,
just don't do it
be a career woman
for the sake of doing it. Do not do it.
As moms, it's true that what we end up being is nurse, and we are drivers, and we're the cooks, and sometimes we're lawyers.
Yes. Oh my god.
Even judges too,
yes.
right? And then all this time management, team management, and everything else, all those skills fall into place. Trying to manage a household, trying to manage your kids. Trying to mandate who was at fault when they were fighting and everything else. So my next question to you is, which one of the mom skills came most handy when you started your business?
So multitasking that helped me, really 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 helped me.
Absolutely.
And if you guys have been moms, you guys all of are good at it, so do not doubt yourself.
It comes naturally.
It comes
like
naturally.
You said, right?
You would not
Domestic
survive.
skills
You would
come
not
naturally.
survive.
And life skills, you're raising a life. That's a given. You're gonna learn.
I know.
Life
Just
skills.
for doing it in the morning.
Here's something that I noticed when you were sharing your story. You said you learned how to drive here, right?
Yes.
So having kids and having that life, being a mom positioned, that means you're learning new skills to take care of your kids.
Every single day, absolutely.
So it's a lot. Like your life, being a mom, is a training process throughout.
Yes.
Now, we know you're great at what you do. You have been so successful, mashallah. Life has been good. And you have been very successfully getting over your challenges as well. Of course, there is no such thing as perfection.
No.
And there are challenges every single day that arise. Now, I would like to know your two most biggest challenges that you are dealing with right now, being a career oriented mom and a full-time mom.
Okay. The first thing is self-guilt. The guilt that you have as a mom. I would not disagree with the fact that your first job when you become a mom is being a mom, like a full-time mom. So the self-guilt that I had, and now I have trained my brain to recover from it quickly. I still have it like all the time. So I really struggled when I was like doing the house chores. My mind was completely, okay, I need to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this on my website, I have to do this. And when I was sitting in front of my computer doing that, I would like, oh, that needs to be done, like things need to be cooked, dishes need to be washed. Like I would not like separate myself from my mom duties and my work. So the mom guilt was throughout, and it still is, but of course it has decreased a lot, because I have learned to live with the fact that there are only 24 hours in the day, and some things will get done and some things won't.
That's a great point. And it's a challenge, not just you, but I believe across the globe, all moms struggle
all
with.
Moms do.
And mom guilt is something that's embedded in a lot of us, because our first love is our kids.
Yes. Yeah.
And the second struggle of to-do lists, like when you're working, your mind isn't working. When you are doing chores, it's like, okay, I have to professionally take care of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So great examples. And I can tell you a lot of our viewers and our listeners and our audience, all of them are resonating with that for sure. All right, so let's see. I have one more question for you, and this is the most, I advocate for happiness constantly. And of course, this is why you're here, to tell people that despite the challenges and how you have overcome them, you are here being most productive, a Shero.
I try.
And then the choices you have actually made. How has the choices have made you the happier person? Knowing you still have mom guilt, knowing there are still challenges, how are you happier than who you have been?
When I came here, the mindset that our culture gives you is that, okay, you need to be a good wife and you just need to take care of the domesticated stuff and then being a mom and everything. So that was it. And for the longest time I did that. It gave me another perspective. It just gave me a sense of confidence that I can do something on top of what I'm doing. And that is very, very important for me. It's not that I don't like the downtime or I don't like to just take a nap, or I like some time by myself or self-care and stuff, but then I really need to have purpose in my life. That realization that I have now, it just makes me happy because I have grown, like since I started this online, my mindset has changed. I've grown and learned so much, and it just gives me, even if I stop my business at this day, like do nothing with it, or like things change or anything needs to be changed, I would just be happy with how much I have learned.
MashaAllah, that's really, really great insight on what makes you a happier person.
And also I just want to create a legacy that I want to give my girls, so they know that they need to keep pushing and they need to manage their time better and not waste their lives on something that is not good.
All right, so when it comes to being, even if it's from home, being a working woman or a working mom, and especially when you're married, or even when you're not, you have a partner, relationships change.
Yes.
And of course, your husband throughout your story has been a constant support throughout the process. But now that you are at this point where you find yourself successful, happy, and of course, he's the one who has helped you pursue this.
Yes.
How has your relationship changed with him? Because there are a lot of other ladies that I encounter and speak with who are pursuing a career, but their relationships have actually become more challenging. So in your case, number one, how things have changed, and if there was a challenge, how did you overcome that?
Okay, the relationship has actually become better because I feel better about myself. Like now when I do things for him, like especially when he's home, I make sure that lunch is prepared, like in our culture and stuff, and he really appreciates it, which is very, very good. He does not expect me to make it just for him, but when he's served everything, and he is not a very good domesticated helper. He has helped and supported me in every way, but he would not get up and get his food ready. That's not gonna happen. So like small things that I do for him, like the evening tea. He usually takes naps in the afternoon. We do not take nap because it does not happen in our routine, because my girls go for practice and stuff. So I make sure that whenever he's up, his tea is ready. It's just a small thing that I do for him, but he truly appreciates it. And if I was just doing it with, like when I was doing it for all those years, like every day, it never occurred to him. It's not that he didn't want to preach. It never occurred to him that how difficult it is to get your mindset off of your work and do the small thing and then go back to work. Like switching back and forth, he cannot do it. Really appreciates how I do it.
Your multitasking skill comes in place.
I do that. So it has actually become so much better because he sees me working all the time and working on all the fronts that I'm doing. So it's very empowering for me. Like it's very good for me, alhamdulillah, that he realizes that. And now that and before that, when he was traveling, I was always looking or expecting time from him Now it's the other way around. When he's home, when he's not traveling, that is also good for my own like personal self-being, that somebody's waiting on me.
Exactly.
It's a psychological thing that
it reminded me when you mentioned the little things, right? It reminded me of a quote that I read, and it said, what's most important are the little things that happen between all the big things.
That's true. The things that we have achieved together, there's a long list.
And what I'm getting from hearing your story right now and your answer to the last question is that recognizing each other's strength and weaknesses helped you communicate better.
Yes.
And you knew how to form those expectations from each other.
Yes.
So that's a very valid and great point. This is something we all should strive for, to recognize what our partner's strengths are or weaknesses are, so we can communicate with that and being mindful of that when we are discussing anything. So number one, thank you so much for being here. We're almost out of time. And one last thing I'd like you to do is share a message with everyone who is listening to us right now. And then after your message, please share what you would like everyone to take away from your story.
Message is, again, find something that you're really passionate about and find a way on how you can make it a business or a kind of work for you. If you are expert on anything, you need to do a little bit of research on how you can start a blog on that, because there is so much information that is needed in so many subjects right now, and everything is digitized. Be in front of the line, be in that process, and try to do, even if you cannot start anything, just get your mindset around it. Just find something that you love, you're passionate about, or you can help in some way. And one last thing, being a woman, being an online business owner, being an entrepreneur, it's very important that you need to develop a network of right people. Please do not spend your time or waste your time, I would say, at the places or in the activities that are not gonna grow your business or your passion, or that are not gonna support you.
Do not forget to subscribe to Pondering Thoughts with Nida Jawed, where you can keep up with my thoughts and thoughts of my guests throughout this Shero series. You don't want to miss anything and all the new heroes that we have coming up. The whole purpose of this is to bring forth the Sheros, the people who are among us, dealt with calamities with such profound strength and did not fall victim to their weakness. So subscribe. Let's go through these stories together. It's my pleasure to be sharing all these wonderful ladies and their stories with you.